Senator Gregg, Republican from New Hampshire. Good afternoon, Senator.
Hey, Alex.
Let's get to I'm well, thank you, sir. I hope you are as well. And I'm curious what you think the Brown victory says about the mood in America. Is it anti-Democrat, or is it just angry at status quo and we want some sort of an outsider, which is really the platform on which Scott Brown ran?
I think what it says is that people are really worried. They're upset and they're concerned about the direction of the country. Healthcare is a large part of that. The fact that you've got this explosion in the size of the governments being proposed, the fact that people see their benefits at risk under Medicare, they see their insurance maybe being lost and being forced into some other type of insurance. But you add that to the cap and trade proposals, to the stimulus package, to the cash for clunker program. These are all hugely expensive programs, and what they add up to is massive debt for our country. And what people are looking at, and they're applying common sense here, they're looking at this debt and they're saying, how are we going to pay all this? And what are we going to pass on to our kids? And I think most people are concerned that we're going to end up passing on to our kids a nation which is less prosperous and where our kids have less opportunity than we got from our parents. And that's never happened in American history, of course, and it's not fair to do. So I think there's real concern out there about the size of the government and the fact that the proposals coming out of this administration, this Congress, have exploded the size of the government.
What about, Senator, something upon which most everybody can universally agree being pushed through on health insurance and health reform? I mean, if it's not going to be the ginormous package that's out there today, what about smaller piecemealing packages together, such as not being able to be denied health care coverage based on pre-existing conditions and having insurance companies put some sort of a cap on that which they can charge people so they can't go after the fact and say, well, you know, we offered it to him just because it cost him his house. I mean, what about getting things like that through?
Well, you know, that's what we've been suggesting. Actually, that's exactly the Republican plan. Do it step by step. We've got a whole series. I've got my own proposal, which is very substantive, step-by-step proposal. There's some bipartisan proposals in this area. Let me throw in a couple other ideas. Two ideas you put out were reasonable ideas, but also, why don't we do some abusive lawsuit reform? We know that will save huge amounts of money. Why don't we say to employers, you can go out and pay your employees extra money if they live healthier lifestyles, get the tests they're supposed to get, stop smoking. Why don't we reward doctors and hospitals and healthcare providers for quality and value rather than quantity and overutilization? All these things can be done on a step-by-step basis without this massive $2.5 trillion increase in the size of the government, which is basically at the core of the bill that we got, which was passed through here in the Senate on a purely partisan vote.
Senator, looking ahead here, with regard to how Scott Brown is going to vote, I mean, at the news conference today, he repeatedly called himself an independent, said he has a history of working with Democrats. Yeah. Any worries that he might not be in lockstep with the Republican leadership in the Senate?
Well, listen, we're a big party, and we got a lot of different viewpoints in the Senate, in the Republican Party, and we're a big umbrella, and I'm sure he's going to be very comfortable in this party, and he's going to have his views. I mean, that's the excitement about serving in this institution. You can be yourself, you can take your stands, and but you do affiliate with a party that basically identifies with your philosophies. And when you listen to what he said in the campaign, those were basically conservative philosophies of reducing the size of government, reducing spending, giving individuals opportunities to succeed, protecting individual liberties, and protecting the environment, which in New England is a very big issue for us on the Republican side. So these are issues which I think he's going to find himself in a very much of a comfort zone with his colleagues here in the Senate on the Republican side of the aisle, and that's why he's associating with the Republican Party and is a Republican.
All right. Well, we thank you for sharing your views, Senator Gregg from New Hampshire. Thank you. The House